What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cars in Quarantine. If you're new to my channel, Cars in Quarantine is a series I post every single Wednesday where I basically just sit down and talk about cars. It could be new cars, it could be old cars, it could be cars I like, cars I don't like. Anything around cars is on the series, so if you're a car person, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So today's video is actually going to be from a recommendation slash a big supporter of the channel. Shout out to the homie Nathanos. So he actually went and tagged me on something on Instagram, and I'll go ahead and show you the post right now. So it was on the 11th gen Mitsubishi Evo, which if you aren't familiar with the Mitsubishi Evo, it's a super iconic car that had production ended in 2016, and it was basically the competitor to the WRX STI. And the reason why they took it out of production is pretty simple. The need just wasn't there. I guess sales weren't there, and it's just not what Mitsubishi customers wanted. So obviously they aren't going to continue production if it's not making them money. And this is one of those videos where I'm telling you right now, you really got to stay till the very end. Just because if you leave like halfway through, just after I say like my opinion or before I get into facts or something, you're gonna miss something and you're gonna take this video completely out of context. So I highly suggest you stay till the very end, because that way you'll get maximum information, and that way you'll get to look at my beautiful face for as long as possible. And just a preference, just like always, whatever I'm looking at on my computer, I'll go ahead and put on screen. So if you ask me what's gonna happen, I think they'll just use the name and use it on an SUV or crossover, just like Ford did with the Mustang Mach-E. And what people are saying is it's gonna be called the E-Evolution, which if you ask me, it's a cheesy name, but I mean, I kind of like it for what it is. E-Evolution, it sounds kind of cool to me. I just like, I don't know why they do this. I get it for a marketing standpoint and whatnot, but I think just using iconic sport car names as a crossover or SUV, it's just like, it's kind of dumb. It disappoints me every time. And like, just think about it. Think if they took the Dodge Viper and put it on an SUV. That's like the equivalent of what they're doing here. So it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of dumb if you ask me. But the reason why I think this is gonna happen, and this is the most likely outcome if the name Evolution is brought back into the Mitsubishi lineup, the reason for that is they already teased the idea at the 2017 at Tokyo Auto Salon. This isn't me just like discovering like a hidden gem, just discovering something. I just did some research and found out that they did it in the 2017 Tokyo Auto Salon. So there's that. And it also wouldn't be the first time Mitsubishi took a sports car name and used it as an SUV or crossover, just like they did with the Mitsubishi Eclipse. And I think I read somewhere that if they go through with this and this happens and reaches production, it's gonna happen sometime late 2021. So probably Q4 of this year, they'll probably come out with the concept or the design and reveal it to the world. Production probably won't start then. That just would make no sense. But I think that's when we'll see and we'll know 100%. But if you aren't a fan of the Evo name being used simply just for marketing purposes to market an SUV or a crossover, this news might excite you. So I found an article from Car and Driver, which if you don't already know, Car and Driver is a very reputable automotive journal. So if they're saying this, they probably have very good sources. So they're saying that their sources say the new Evo will come back, and it won't be in the form of an SUV or a crossover. They're actually saying that it'll come back in the form of either a sedan or a hot hatch. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out right now. I think this article is about a year old, so whether or not the information is still relevant, I'm not completely sure, but that's not to be ignored, because if it was a rumor back then, a year ago, it could still very well be a thing now. You never know, Mitsubishi might just be taking their time with it and keeping it under a very strict wraps, or they might just wait another 2-3 years and then come out with it. We don't know. But that being said, if the Lancer Evo 11 it came out as a sedan or a hot hatch, it would most likely use a chassis and powertrain of the Renault Megane RS. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right because I am from North America. I'm from Canada, and these cars have never made their way to North America, so if I'm saying that like an idiot, please go ahead and correct me in the comments. But the Renault Megane RS has a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a turbocharger that makes 300 horsepower, and honestly, paired with Mitsubishi's world-class AWC all-wheel drive system, this thing sounds like it would be an absolute monster. And there's also rumors that if this happened, they could add a hybrid system, bumping up the power to over 350 horsepower. See, there's my whole issue with this thing. My issue with this whole thing is the Evo always competed with this right here, the WRX STI. And even though the new STI isn't out yet, there's rumors that it's gonna have like over 400 horsepower. And I think if Mitsubishi comes out with the Evo 11 and it's underpowered, they're just kind of wasting their time and their money, because it's a direct competitor. You can't just go off the grid for like 5 years now and then come back with something that's worse, or not worse, but not as good as its competitor. You know what I mean? Because if you ask me, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying into the hype of the new car just because it's a new returning car when the competitor has a better car. You know what I mean? It's just simple as that. So I'm not really sure what's gonna happen, and this could all be complete BS. There can just not be an Evo ever again, or they can just use it as a marketing strategy, as a name. But if it did come back in the form of a sedan or a hot hatch, if you ask me, would I be too excited? Not really. I was never really like the Evo 8 and Evo 9. It was a little bit before my time, but even then, growing up, I found them super cool. The Evo 10, did I care for it that much? No. I'm just overall not that excited. I don't really care if it comes back or not. That's just my opinion. So guys, this is probably a shorter episode of Cars in Quarantine, but I think there was a fair amount. My computer's trying to ruin the episode. Like, shut up. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and mute this. But I think there was a fair amount of useful information that got across to you guys in this video. So if you did enjoy it, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I post these every single Wednesday. This week's was a little bit different from what I usually post, but if you guys did enjoy it, please let me know down below in the comments. If you have any other suggestions for Cars in Quarantine, or any criticism, or you want to start a discussion on the new Evo, what information you might bring to the table, or just your opinion on what I stated, please go ahead and make sure you leave that down below in the comments. I love seeing the discussions you guys start, and I always get involved in every single one of them. And that being said, if you did enjoy the video, go ahead and hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you have yourself a great day.